The dust settled around Alexandra Winters as she crouched behind a twisted metal sculpture. Her breathing was controlled, measured. Sweat trickled down her neck in the hot air of Nexus 7, but her hands remained steady. Through the small gap between the sculpture and the stone wall, she watched 3 Imperial officers scan the plaza with their detection devices. "The human female passed through here no more than 10 minutes ago," said the tallest officer, his purple skin gleaming under the twin suns. "Spread out. Remember, Grand Admiral Krethazar wants her alive." Alex touched the small communicator hidden in her ear. It looked like a simple earring to anyone who might see it. "They're still following the trail I left. Moving into position." "Alpha," she whispered. "Copy that, Commander," came the quiet reply from Major Daniel Murphy. "The rest of the squad is standing by. Your tracking beacon is clear." Alex waited until the officers moved to opposite sides of the plaza before darting from her hiding spot. She moved quickly but deliberately, making sure the heel of her boot pressed into the soft soil near a decorative pond. A clear footprint. She smiled as she slipped into a narrow alley between 2 towering buildings. 3 days ago, Alex had been gathering intelligence on Imperial fleet movements when the alarm was raised. Somehow, they had detected a human presence on their precious pleasure planet. What started as a simple reconnaissance mission had quickly evolved into something much more valuable when Grand Admiral Krethazar himself arrived and declared a hunt. "The human will provide entertainment for our distinguished officers," the Grand Admiral had announced in a transmission Alex intercepted. "It has been too long since we tested our skills against live prey. The one who captures this specimen will receive a promotion and the honor of keeping the human for personal study." The Empire had no idea they were hunting the commander of humanity's most elite special forces team. Alex climbed swiftly up a maintenance ladder, reaching the roof of a low building. From this vantage point, she could see 7 Imperial officers coordinating their search efforts. She took mental notes of their formations and command structure, information that would be invaluable in the coming conflict between humanity and the Zarn Empire. Her communicator buzzed softly. "Commander, we've detected an Imperial cruiser entering orbit," Lieutenant Ortiz reported. "Looks like they're bringing in more hunters. Your little game is attracting bigger players." Alex grinned. "Perfect. The more high-ranking officers they commit to this hunt, the better our intelligence gathering." She took out a small device and activated it, creating a false heat signature half a kilometer away. Within minutes, 4 of the officers rushed toward the decoy. Alex used the distraction to move to her next position, carefully leaving subtle clues for her pursuers to follow. Night fell quickly on Nexus 7. Alex found shelter in an abandoned maintenance tunnel beneath the city's central district. She removed a hidden panel from her boot heel and extracted a tiny data chip. "Package secured," she reported. Today's surveillance captured identification codes for 15 senior officers, including 2 fleet commanders. "Nice work, Commander," Murphy responded. "The Phantom remains undetected in orbit. Blackwood has established a sniper position overlooking your next waypoint." Alex ate a small protein ration and checked her weapons. The hunting party would grow more aggressive tomorrow. Grand Admiral Krethazar was not known for his patience. "They think they're tracking frightened prey," Alex said quietly, looking at the holographic map of the city. "By the time they realize what I really am, it will be too late." She marked 7 locations on her map where the Imperial leadership would be most vulnerable. The hunt would continue for exactly 4 more days. Just enough time to identify every weakness in the Empire's command structure. Alex smiled in the darkness. The Predators had no idea they were being stalked by something far more dangerous than they could imagine. Aboard the stealth ship Phantom, Major Daniel Murphy paced the small command center. The view screen showed Nexus 7 below them, its glittering cities and vast oceans looking peaceful from orbit. But Murphy knew better. His commander was down there, surrounded by enemies. "Status. Report," he ordered, stopping beside Lieutenant Samantha Ortiz's workstation. Ortiz's fingers moved quickly over her console. "Commander Winter's vital signs are normal. She's currently stationary, likely resting. Imperial communications indicate they've called in additional hunting parties. They're taking this very seriously. Of course they are, said Sergeant William Blackwood from his position by the weapons console. The sniper was cleaning his rifle, his movements precise and methodical. They've never failed to catch prey before. Alex is making them look bad. Corporal Ryan Ellis laughed from across the room. Those purple-skinned jerks have no idea what they're dealing with. Remember Outpost 7? Alex took out an entire security detail with just a knife and some wire. Catherine Johnson, the team's medic, looked up from her medical supplies. Let's hope she doesn't need to do anything that extreme this time. The mission is intelligence gathering, not starting a war. At least not yet. Murphy nodded and brought up a holographic map of the area where Alex was operating. Red dots showed the positions of Imperial officers they had identified so far. 3 fleet commanders, 7 ship captains, and now Grand Admiral Krethzar himself, Murphy said. The Empire's entire regional command structure is down there chasing Alex. Just like we planned, Ortiz said. 3 months ago, we didn't even know what these aliens looked like. Now we're cataloging their command protocols, weapons capabilities, and security procedures. The team fell silent, remembering why they were here. 8 months ago, the Zarn Empire had appeared at the edge of human space. Without warning or communication, they destroyed 3 colony worlds. Millions dead in a single day. The Empire then sent a simple message. These worlds had trespassed on Imperial territory and were removed accordingly. Humanity prepared for war, while sending the Ghost Squad to gather critical intelligence. Incoming transmission from the commander, Ortiz announced, breaking the silence. Alex's voice came through clearly. Package 2 secured. I've planted trackers on 3 command vehicles and copied data from an unattended console. These aliens are overconfident they leave their equipment unsecured. Any complications? Murphy asked. The hunting party has grown to 36 officers. They've brought in tracking beasts from their homeworld. Large reptilian creatures with enhanced smell. I had to eliminate 2 that got too close. Murphy frowned. Did you maintain cover? Yes. Used native predator marks to disguise the kills. The Imperials think local wildlife took their pets. Catherine moved closer to the communication console. Are you injured, Commander? Negative. But I need extraction equipment at the next rendezvous. I've identified a mid-level communications officer who seems disgruntled. Perfect for interrogation. Ellis grinned. Kidnapping plans? Now we're talking. Not kidnapping, Alex corrected. Strategic intelligence acquisition. Blackwood laughed softly. Same thing. Different words. Murphy studied the updated map as new information from Alex's reconnaissance appeared. The Imperial hunting formation has a gap in their eastern perimeter. They're focusing resources on your false trails to the west. Notice that, Alex replied. I'll use it tomorrow to access their command post. Their arrogance makes them predictable. They still think I'm running scared. Ortiz suddenly straightened in her chair. Commander, we've intercepted a priority. Transmission from Imperial High Command. They're sending reinforcements. A full battlecruiser will arrive in the system within 48 hours. Perfect, Alex said, surprising the team. More high-ranking targets for us. Keep the Phantom hidden and maintain observation of orbital traffic. I'll contact you at the next scheduled window. Winter's out. As the transmission ended, Murphy looked at his team. You heard the commander. We have 2 days before this gets complicated. Everyone check your gear. When Alex gives the signal, we need to be ready to move. The Ghost Squad nodded in unison. Soon, the hunters would become the hunted. Alex moved silently through the dense vegetation at the edge of the Imperial officers' camp. The twin moons of Nexus 7 cast enough light for her to see the 6 guards patrolling the perimeter. She had spent the entire day leading a group of hunters through rough terrain, leaving them exhausted and frustrated before slipping away during a brief rainstorm. Now it was time to turn her role as prey into an advantage. She touched her communicator. In position at the main camp. 6 guards. Standard. Rotation, 15 officers inside, including Krethzar. Understood, Murphy replied. Satellite imagery shows minimal electronic security. They're not expecting trouble in their own camp. Alex smiled. The Empire's belief in their superiority made them careless. She waited patiently as a guard passed by, then moved quickly between sensor posts. Years of training had taught her how to control her breathing, how to place each foot to make no sound. Inside the large central tent, Grand Admiral Krethzar was addressing his officers. Alex positioned herself beneath an air circulation vent, where she could hear every word. "This human has evaded us for 4 days," the Grand Admiral said, his voice deep and annoyed. "Such resilience is unexpected from an inferior species. Perhaps we have underestimated them." "The human female shows tactical training," said another voice. "She uses the terrain effectively and leaves false trails." "Excuses," Krethzar shouted. "There are 36 of us and 1 of her. This failure reflects poorly on the Empire's military capability." Alex recorded every word with her hidden devices. The longer the hunt continued, the more the Imperial officers revealed about their tactics, their technology, and their psychology. "Sir," said a new voice, "what if this human is not simply a visitor who strayed into forbidden territory?" "What if she is a military scout?" Krethzar laughed. "Human military? Their primitive ships would never survive an encounter with even our smallest vessels. No, this is simply an unusually clever specimen. I want her captured by tomorrow's sunset, or there will be consequences for those who fail." Alex heard chairs move as the meeting ended. She retreated silently into the darkness as officers began to exit the tent. Moving to her next target, Alex approached the communications array at the edge of the camp. She needed to plant a device that would allow Ortiz to intercept all Imperial transmissions in this sector. A guard stood directly in her path. Alex picked up a small stone and threw it into the bushes behind him. When he turned to investigate the noise, she moved swiftly. Her arm wrapped around his neck, applying pressure to specific points. The guard fell unconscious without making a sound. She lowered him gently to the ground and continued to the communications array. The device she placed on its power source was smaller than her thumbnail, but would give the Ghost Squad access to everything the Empire said or sent for the next 30 days. "Package 3 delivered," she whispered into her communicator. "Receiving data now," Ortiz confirmed. "This is incredible, Commander. We're getting access to their entire regional communication network." Alex was about to reply when she heard a low growl behind her. One of the tracking beasts had caught her scent, its reptilian eyes fixed on her as it prepared to alert its masters. Alex didn't hesitate. She drew a thin blade from her boot and threw it with perfect accuracy. The beast died instantly, but its death cry might attract attention. She needed to move quickly now. Slipping from shadow to shadow, Alex made her way out of the camp just as alarms began to sound. "They know I was here," she told her team as she ran silently through the forest. "But they don't know what I took." "Change of plans," Murphy said. "They'll increase security now. Proceed to extraction point Bravo for equipment drop." "Negative," Alex replied. "This works in our favor. They're angry and embarrassed. They'll make mistakes." She paused at the edge of a cliff, looking back at the lights and movement in the Imperial camp. "Tomorrow," she said with determination, "we move to Phase 2. The morning sun cast long shadows across the canyon as Alex checked her weapons one final time. She had led the Imperial hunters to this location carefully over the past day, leaving clearer tracks, appearing briefly in their scanning devices, and even allowing one officer to catch a glimpse of her before she disappeared again. The canyon was perfect for her plan. High walls of red stone, limited entry points, and several hidden caves that her team had mapped from orbit. The Ghost Squad called it the Killing Box, though Alex hoped most of the Imperials would survive what was coming. Live prisoners provided, better intelligence than dead ones. "All units in position," Murphy's voice said in her ear. "Blackwood has overwatch from the North Ridge. Ellis has placed charges at all exit points. Johnson is standing by with medical support if needed." "And Ortiz?" Alex asked. "Ready to jam their communications on your signal. Their backup forces won't hear a thing." Alex nodded to herself. It was time to end the hunt and teach the Empire a lesson about underestimating humans. She stepped out from behind a large boulder, making sure the Imperial scouts spotted her. The aliens immediately raised their weapons and began to call excitedly into their communicators. Target located. Canyon Sector 7. Alex turned and ran, but not too quickly. She wanted them to follow, to think they finally had her cornered. Within minutes, she heard the whine of Imperial hover vehicles approaching. The entire hunting party was converging on her position, eager to claim the prize that had eluded them for 5 days. Grand Admiral Krethazar's voice boomed through amplifiers. "Human female, you are surrounded. Your primitive evasion tactics have provided adequate sport, but the hunt ends now." Alex took cover behind a rock formation and watched as nearly 30 Imperial officers entered the canyon, spreading out in a search pattern. Their confidence was clear in how carelessly they moved. They believed victory was certain. "Now," Alex whispered into her communicator. Several things happened at once. Explosions echoed at both ends of the canyon, sending rocks tumbling down to block the exits. The Imperial officers' communicators went dead as Ortiz activated powerful, jamming signals from orbit, and 4 members of the Ghost Squad rappelled silently down the canyon walls, taking positions behind the confused aliens. "What is happening?" Krethazar demanded, his purple skin darkening with anger. "Secure the perimeter." Alex stepped out into plain view, no longer playing the role of frightened prey. She held her weapon casually at her side. "Hello, Admiral," she called out. "Thank you for bringing so many of your officers to one convenient location." The confusion on the alien faces would have been comical if the situation weren't so serious. One younger officer raised his weapon to fire at Alex, but a single shot from Blackwood's sniper position dropped him to the ground. "I wouldn't," Alex said calmly. "My sniper can eliminate every one of you before you can reach cover." Krethazar stared at her with dawning comprehension. You led us here deliberately." Alex smiled. 5 days of tracking me and you're just now figuring that out? And you call humans primitive." Imperial officers turned in circles, suddenly realizing they were surrounded by hidden enemies. Ellis emerged from behind a rock formation, his heavy weapon pointed at the group. Johnson and Murphy appeared on opposite sides, effectively trapping the hunting party. "What is the meaning of this?" Krethazar demanded. "One human female could not possibly—" "I'm not alone," Alex interrupted. "I never was. You were so focused on your hunt that you never considered you might be the prey." She walked forward confidently, watching as the realization spread through the Imperial ranks. Their entertainment had become a trap. Their sport had led them to disaster. "The Empire has made a terrible mistake," Alex said, her voice echoing off the canyon walls. "You thought humans were weak. You thought we would be easy targets." She stopped directly in front of Krethazar. "It's time you learned how wrong you were." The Imperial officers stood frozen in the canyon, surrounded by the Ghost Squad. Grand Admiral Krethazar's face showed a mix of rage and disbelief as he stared at Alex. "Secure their weapons," Alex ordered her team. Murphy and Ellis moved efficiently through the group of aliens, collecting the strange-looking guns and knives. Some officers tried to resist but quickly stopped when Blackwood's sniper rifle targeted them from above. "You cannot do this," Krethazar said. "The Empire will send ships. They will burn this entire planet to find us." Alex smiled. "They would. Need to know something happened first. No one can hear you. No one knows you're in trouble. Your hunt is now a secret meeting as far as the rest of your fleet is concerned." Catherine Johnson approached with a small device in her hand. "Commander, we have limited time. The orbital scans show Imperial ships will be in range in about 40 minutes. Alex nodded. "Let's get what we came for." She turned to Krethazar. "You and your 3 highest-ranking officers will come with me. The rest will stay here under guard." "I refuse to cooperate with a lesser species," Krethazar spat. Murphy pressed his weapon against the alien's head. "This lesser species currently holds your life in its hands." They led the 4 senior officers to a small cave at the side of the canyon. Inside, Ortiz had set up portable equipment linked to their ship in orbit. "The neural scanner is ready," Ortiz said. "It's calibrated for their physiology based on the data you collected." The Imperial officers looked at the equipment with growing fear. One of them, a captain with dark blue markings on his face, finally spoke. "What do you want from us?" Information. Alex replied simply. Your empire attacked our colonies without warning, killed millions of our people. We need to know why, and we need to know your military capabilities. Catherine attached small sensors to Krethzar's head despite his struggles. This won't hurt if you don't resist, she told him. It just reads active thoughts. Ortiz activated the scanner. Images and data began to flow across her screens. It's working. I'm getting fleet positions, security codes, command protocols. Alex watched as the alien's memories appeared as blurry images on the main screen. Then she saw something that made her blood run cold. Stop. Go back to that last image, she ordered. Ortiz adjusted the controls. The screen showed a massive Imperial fleet gathering near a spiral galaxy arm. That's the Sol approach vector, Murphy said quietly. They're planning a full-scale attack. On Earth. Krethzar smiled despite the scanner on his head. Yes. Your homeworld will be dust in 3 days. The Emperor has ordered the complete removal of humanity from the galaxy. Your species is considered too unpredictable to be allowed to exist. Alex kept her face calm, though anger burned inside her. Continue the scan. Get everything you can. As the neural scanner did its work, Ellis called from outside the cave. Commander, we have incoming Imperial shuttle approaching the canyon. How did they find us so quickly? Murphy asked. Ortiz checked her equipment. There must be a tracking device we missed, possibly implanted in one of the officers. Alex made a quick decision. Download what we have and prepare to move out. Ellis set the remaining charges for remote detonation. What about the prisoners? Catherine asked. We only need Krethzar. The rest stay here. Alex turned to the Grand Admiral. You're coming. With us. Your knowledge of Imperial attack plans is too valuable. Outside, they could hear the shuttle's engines growing louder. Their time was running out. Scans complete, Ortiz announced. I've got the fleet weakness. Their flagship, the Emperor's Will, has a design flaw in its central power core. A targeted strike could disable the entire ship. Alex nodded. That's our target then. Get everything packed up. She turned to Murphy. Prepare the emergency extraction. We need to reach the Phantom before their reinforcements arrive. As they moved out of the cave with their prisoner, Alex looked up at the sky. The battle for Earth would begin soon, and only her team had the information that might save humanity. The Phantom broke through Nexus 7's atmosphere at maximum speed, its stealth systems working overtime to avoid detection. Inside the ship, the Ghost Squad worked frantically at their stations while Grand Admiral Krethzar sat bound in the corner, his eyes filled with hatred. 3 Imperial cruisers have entered orbit, Ortiz reported from her console. They're scanning for us. Alex strapped herself into the commander's chair. Ellis, reroute power from weapons to the stealth systems. Murphy, plot a course through the asteroid field at the edge of the system. The asteroid field? Murphy questioned. That's risky even without pursuit. Which is why they won't expect it, Alex replied. The Empire thinks in straight lines. They expect us to make a direct run for human space. The ship shuddered as it accelerated, pushing away from the planet. In the distance, they could see the massive Imperial vessels beginning to spread out in a search pattern. They know something's wrong, Blackwood said, watching the tactical display. They've realized their Grand Admiral is missing. Catherine approached Alex with concern on her face. Commander, Murphy was injured during the extraction. Shrapnel from one of their energy weapons caught him in the side. I've stabilized him, but he needs proper medical attention. Alex nodded, her face showing no emotion, though worry filled her chest. Murphy was not just her second-in-command, but her oldest friend. Do what you can for him. We can't stop until we clear this system. Incoming transmission, Ortiz called out suddenly. It's on all Imperial channels. Let's hear it, Alex ordered. A deep, powerful voice filled the ship's speakers. This is Emperor Zorzak of the Zarn Empire. To the humans who have abducted our military personnel, return Grand Admiral Krethzar immediately, or face total annihilation. Your homeworld's destruction has been moved forward. The attack fleet launches in 24 hours. The message repeated, once more before cutting off. The crew exchanged grim looks. They're accelerating their plans. Murphy said weakly from his makeshift medical bed. We have even less time than we thought. Alex turned to Ortiz. Send an encrypted message to Earth Defense Command. Include everything we've learned about the Imperial fleet and the weakness in their flagship. I can't get a signal through, Ortiz replied after trying. They're jamming all subspace frequencies. We need to get closer to human space to transmit. The ship rocked violently as energy blasts passed close by. One of the Imperial cruisers had spotted them despite their stealth systems. Evasive maneuvers, Alex shouted. Ellis worked the controls, sending the Phantom into a tight spiral between two massive asteroids. The Imperial cruiser followed, but couldn't match the smaller ship's agility. It scraped against an asteroid, sending chunks of rock spinning through space. They're calling in reinforcements, Ortiz warned. 5 more ships just jumped into the system. Alex studied the tactical map. There was no clear path to human space. Now, they were surrounded. Commander, Catherine called from beside Murphy. His condition is worsening. The wound is deeper than I thought. Krethzar laughed from his corner. Your primitive species will be extinct soon. Even if you escape, there is nothing you can do to stop the Emperor's will. Alex ignored him, focusing instead on a small planet showing on their scanners. That's New Horizon Colony. It's the closest human outpost. They have a quantum relay station that can get a message to Earth. It's also directly in the path of the Imperial fleet, Blackwood pointed out. Exactly why they won't expect us to go there, Alex replied. She made her decision. Ellis, set course for New Horizon Colony. Maximum speed. As the Phantom changed, direction. Alex moved to check on Murphy. His face was pale, his breathing shallow. Hold on, Daniel, she whispered. We're almost home. The small ship pushed its engines beyond safe limits, racing against time as the Imperial fleet closed in, behind them. The fate of Earth now depended on their ability to deliver their intelligence before the attack began. The human colony of New Horizon was burning when the Phantom arrived. 3 Imperial ships hung in orbit, firing energy weapons at the surface. Smoke rose from the main settlement as buildings collapsed under the assault. They've started the attack early, Ellis said, his voice tight with anger. Alex stared at the destruction below. They're testing our defenses before the main assault on Earth. She turned to Ortiz. Can you locate the colony's communication array? Ortiz scanned the surface. It's still intact, on the eastern edge of the settlement. The colonists must be protecting it. Land us as close as possible, Alex ordered. Blackwood, Ellis, you're with me. Catherine, stay with Murphy and guard our prisoner. Krethzar laughed from his restraints. You're too late. The colony will fall before you reach the ground. Alex leaned close to the alien admiral. Every time you speak, I'm reminded why humanity needs to win this war. She turned to her team. Gear up. We move fast, get to the array, send our message, and get out. The Phantom descended through heavy fire, its shields absorbing multiple hits. Ellis guided the ship behind a ridge to shield them from direct attacks, landing roughly on the colony's outskirts. As the team exited the ship, they saw the full extent of the Imperial assault. Hundreds of colonists ran for shelter as alien soldiers marched through the streets. Defense turrets fired back but were quickly being overwhelmed. This way, Alex said, leading her team through back alleys toward the communications center. They moved silently, avoiding Imperial patrols when possible and eliminating them quietly when necessary. They reached a small plaza where a group of colonists had established a defensive position. An older man with captain's insignia spotted them and raised his weapon. Identify yourselves, he shouted over the sound of energy weapons. Commander Alexandra Winters, Ghost Squad, Alex replied. We need to reach your quantum relay. The captain lowered his weapon. Commander Winters, Earth Defense has been trying to contact you. We received word 3 hours ago that the Imperial fleet is mobilizing. We know, Alex said. We have critical intelligence that could save Earth, but we need to transmit it immediately. The captain nodded and pointed to a building with a large dish on its roof. The relay is there. We've been holding them off, but we can't last much longer. My people will cover you. Alex thanked him and led her team forward. As they crossed the plaza, Imperial soldiers spotted them and opened fire. Blackwood took cover behind a fallen statue and returned fire with precision, dropping 3 aliens with 3 shots. "Go!" he shouted to Alex and Ellis. "I'll keep them busy." Alex and Ellis sprinted toward the communications building as Blackwood provided covering fire. They burst through the doors to find 3 colonists desperately trying to keep the equipment running. "We need to send a priority message to Earth Defense Command," Alex said, showing her military ID. One of the technicians moved aside. "The system is yours, Commander, but hurry. Main power could fail any minute." Ellis stood guard at the door while Alex uploaded the data they had stolen. The plans for the Imperial attack, the fleet formations, and most importantly, the weakness in the Emperor's flagship. "Transmission active," the technician said. "Sending now." Outside, the sounds of battle grew closer. Ellis fired through the doorway as Imperial troops approached the building. "They know what we're doing," he called to Alex. "They're focusing their attack here." The building shook as a heavy weapon hit nearby. Equipment sparked and screens flickered. "Transmission at 60%, the technician reported. "We need another minute." Alex joined Ellis at the door, firing at the advancing Imperial forces. The colony's defenders were falling back, overwhelmed by superior numbers. "Where's Blackwood?" Alex asked, not seeing the sniper. An explosion rocked the plaza, sending debris flying. Through the smoke, they saw Blackwood running toward them, firing behind him as he moved. "They brought in heavy weapons," he shouted. "The whole area is going to be leveled," the technician called out from the console. "Transmission complete. Earth Defense confirms receipt of data." Alex felt a moment of relief before another explosion hit even closer. Part of the ceiling collapsed, blocking one of the exits. "Fall back to the ship," she ordered. "Mission accomplished. Now we need to get out alive." As they prepared to leave, Alex looked at the data terminal one last time. The information was sent. Earth now had a fighting chance, but their own battle was far from over. 3 days after the battle at New Horizon Colony, the Ghost Squad stood on the bridge of the human battleship Defiance. Through the massive viewport, they watched as hundreds of ships from Earth's defense fleet moved into position. The Emperor's armada was visible in the distance, thousands of Imperial vessels preparing for what they believed would be an easy victory. Alex looked at her team with pride. They had all survived the escape from New Horizon, though not without cost. Murphy was still recovering in the medical bay. Blackwood had burns along his left arm. Ellis had taken a piece of shrapnel in his leg, but they were alive, and they had delivered the intelligence that might save humanity. Admiral Laura Hayes approached them. "Commander Winters, your team's information has been invaluable. We've identified the weakness in the Emperor's flagship and developed a plan of attack." "What about the colony?" Alex asked. "The people who helped us?" "We sent rescue ships. Many colonists escaped, but New Horizon itself is lost." The Admiral's face showed sadness but also determination. "Their sacrifice won't be in vain." On a nearby screen, they could see Grand Admiral Krethzar in his holding cell. The alien had finally realized the full extent of what Alex and her team had accomplished. "The Emperor still believes this will be a simple extermination," Admiral Hayes continued. "He has no idea we know about the flaw in his flagship's power core." Alex nodded. "The Empire has always underestimated humans. They see us as inferior, as prey to be hunted. That's their greatest weakness." The Admiral handed Alex a datapad. "This is the assault plan. Your team will lead a strike force aboard a captured Imperial shuttle. While our fleet engages their main forces, you'll infiltrate the Emperor's flagship and target the power core." "A suicide mission," Blackwood said with a grim smile. "I prefer to think of it as extremely challenging," Alex replied. "Besides, the Empire still owes me for that hunt on Nexus 7. Ellis laughed. "They thought they were tracking one human. Now they get to face all of us." The ship's communication system activated and a familiar voice filled the bridge. "Admiral Hayes, this is Major Murphy. Medical has cleared me for duty. I'm reporting to the Ghost Squad." Alex smiled as Murphy limped onto the bridge, still pale but standing tall. Their team was complete again. All ships, Prepare for battle stations, Admiral Hayes announced. The Emperor's fleet is advancing. As alarms sounded throughout the ship, Alex led her team toward the hangar bay where their stolen Imperial shuttle waited. Catherine checked her medical supplies one last time. Ortiz reviewed the flagship schematics. Blackwood and Ellis inspected their weapons. "Remember when they were hunting you for sport?" Murphy asked Alex as they walked. "Seems like a lifetime ago," she replied. "I wonder if the Emperor regrets it now." "He will," Murphy said confidently. In the hangar bay, dozens of soldiers waited to join the assault team. They saluted as the Ghost Squad approached. Alex addressed them briefly. "Today we fight not just for our survival, but for every species the Empire has ever hunted, enslaved, or destroyed. They thought humans were easy prey. We're about to show them how wrong they were." As they boarded the shuttle, Alex looked one last time at the human fleet preparing for battle. Everything had started with a simple hunt on a pleasure planet. The Empire had pursued one woman for sport, never imagining she would lead them to this moment of reckoning. The shuttle's engines fired up as the hangar doors opened to the vastness of space. Ahead lay the Emperor's massive flagship, its weakness now known. "Ghost Squad," Alex said to her team as they accelerated toward the Imperial fleet. "Let's go hunting." Behind them, the human fleet moved forward, as one, weapons charged, ready, to fight for their right to exist. The Empire had started this war by treating humans as game animals. Now they would learn why that had been their greatest mistake. The final hunt had begun.